let's move to the final gap here for today, 41-50 as we jump into this group here. And there's a lot of players that I'm excited to break down. I know James Cook is going to be number 41. You want to get into him for a while there, Matthew? We will. 42, Devon Achane. 43, Patrick Mahomes. 44, Amari Cooper. 45, Keenan Allen. 46, T. Higgins. We'll see if he's still a Cincinnati Bengal. It is looking that way. 47, Cooper Kupp. 48, Zay Flowers after his rookie season. 49, Travis Kelce. The long wait for Kelce, stacked with Mark Andrews at 50. But, Matthew, let's start with James Cook at 41. Stephon Diggs out of Buffalo. We saw James Cook really figure it out down the stretch under Joe Brady.
Once Joe Brady took over, he was the 11th best running back on a points-per-game basis from Week 11 on. He averaged almost 20 touches a game. He had a 12% target share over that stretch as well. Now, look, there's still a concern around the goal line. It's still going to be Josh Allen as well. Inside the 10-yard line from Week 11 on, he still only saw 32% of the team rushes. Like, whether it's Latavius Murray, the ghost of Latavius Murray, or somebody else,
Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson, right, exactly. And Josh Allen's always a threat there. So, there's still some concern on touchdown equity as well with James Cook. So that's why I'm a little bit lower. But running back 14 feels like this is the right range for him in terms of the overall. Just a very solid RB2 that will have RB1 spike weeks.
Right after that was Devon Achane. Now, this is right on the heels of Mostert kind of having a reworked deal with the Dolphins. But I think most importantly, what we're figuring out with the Dolphins is balancing this backfield where Mostert was great last year.
Yeah, and so was Achane.
Right.
And so, I actually think Raheem Mostert at cost is going to be the better value. As much as we love Devon Achane, and he's going to be awesome. He's amazing when he's healthy. But they're going to use both guys. They want both guys healthy. That offense is going to play at such a fast pace and be in scoring position so often that both guys are going to return fantasy value. And so I kind of like Mostert at cost, who's going to go much later in drafts than the sexy Devon Achane, right? Because everyone's going to want, Devon Achane, and they remember the 200-yard games and the big plays. But the fact of the matter is that Raheem Mostert was one of the best running backs in fantasy football. Raheem Mostert, a member of Live at Noon on the Cock. Like, I have to send him his championship ring. Raheem Mostert. Raheem must start. Friend of the podcast.
Raheem
friend
the
of the
Dream.
show. Raheem the Dream. I'm just saying.
Man of many names.
Man of many names. Yeah. Just say he's part of the championship culture that we've built at Live at Noon on the Cock.
Yeah. I will say with Achane, he had, and I know that at the end of his season and he was injured and he just didn't have that many moments. At the start of the season, he had these moments where it's like Victor Wembanyama-esque, where you're watching, it's like, what is this? What is this sport? Like, just the way that he would glide and accelerate, It's like he's just playing at a different speed and a different kind of space-time continuum to all the other players. And so he just didn't get back to that. And I think that was because probably the injury, and he's just kind of, he's a rookie and he's easing into it. Like, there were stretches last year where it's like, is he just the best running back in football and this is just what's going to happen from now on? And so I still think there is some of that ceiling still there, but most of it is clearly going to get his touches.
Yeah, but anyway, both guys I think will be, and because of that, because he ended the season poorly, I do think Achane potentially is a value as well. There's some, the injury risk and the Mostert usage is baked into where I have Achane ranked, but like, again, top 5 running back, and if he stays healthy, that's in the range of outcomes for him. A lot of people say, Matthew, do you watch the NBA? And I say, yes, I do. I love the NBA. And they're like, why? And I say, well, otherwise I won't get any of Jay's references on the effing show.
It is a homework assignment. On the show.
God forbid he just talks football.
Right.
Kobe White. We've had some Stromile Swift references in the past. Yeah, we go deep into the bag.
Yeah.
43, Jay, Patrick Mahomes. A long wait to get to Patrick Mahomes, but his wide receiver situation becomes more curious by the day, it feels like.
Yeah, he's my sleeper pick next year, Patrick Mahomes.
Let me write this one down.
Good.
How do you spell the last name?
That's funny. I still feel like the Chiefs had this awful season last year. They won the Super Bowl.
They did.
I think so. Mahomes finished as QB8 last year with everything going wrong. Like that is the worst season that Mahomes can have statistically. He was still QB8 the year before without Tyreek Hill. He was QB1 in fantasy. So I think that with Marquise Brown, and we'll see what happens with Rashee Rice because I don't know how to project that. I don't think that Rashee Rice is going to be like out for the season or anything with what's available at this moment. I know it's not good, but we need to see what happens there. But assuming that Rashee Rice is out there with Kelce, with Marquise Brown, finally just give them back that deep threat threat that they haven't really had since Tyreek left, and I'm not counting Marquez Valdes-Scantling fulfilling that role. I think that Mahomes has certainly a lot of scope. Now, Josh Allen clearly has to be the guy because of the rushing upside and the touchdowns, and you'd probably rather Hurts over Mahomes as well, but I don't think anyone's going to be shocked if Mahomes is the number one quarterback in fantasy again.
Yeah, and by the way, they're in the mix for drafting. Again, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but it's a very deep wide receiver class.
They'll take
this
one.
year, don't you think? Like
Yes.
the Chiefs are one of the
offensive line
teams.
they'll take. Yep.
The Chiefs are one of the teams that will likely draft a wide receiver that maybe that wide receiver won't be relevant for fantasy because there are so many mouths to feed in the passing offense, but it's just another weapon for Mahomes. I know they still have hopes for Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney. One of those guys can emerge. I don't understand why
Them and only them have that hope.
I know, but I don't get. To this day, I still understand why. I don't know if it's just maybe the guy just can't. Maybe he's dumb as a box of rocks, or he can't run a route tree or whatever. But I don't understand why Justin Watson doesn't get more run.
I know.
No,
he's had some bad drops.
He's had some bad drops, but not nearly as many as Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and that guy gets run.
Justin Watson cost me a lot of money in that Eagles game.
I know.
He just dropped everything that game his way.
But I feel like twice a game, Justin Watson makes some big play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he also gets all these crazy pass interference yards. Justin, I don't know.
I think he's better than Sky Moore.
Yeah, I don't understand why Justin Watson can't get more run. There's got to be a reason, and
you know why Mahomes is the greatest? The two wide receivers who have caught the game-winning touchdowns in the last two Super Bowls.
Nicole Hardman.
And Sky Moore.
Yep.
And they did nothing else outside of Winston.
Yeah.
Finally, with this group, Cooper Kupp, typically a top 20 pick, Matthew.
Yes, my little Cooper Kupp.
The rise of Puka Nacua, I won't say leads to the downfall of Cooper Kupp of number 47 on the rankings.
Yeah, listen, the fact of the matter is that I think you just sort of feel like you prefer Puka Nacua to Cooper Kupp at this stage of their careers. Cooper Kupp on the wrong side of 30, dealt with injuries again last season as well. Nacua was clearly the preferred option down the stretch as well. And part of the problem for Cooper Kupp's fantasy value is that Cooper Kupp is such a good teacher that he's helping Puka Nacua become so great. We actually spoke with Puka Nacua at the Super Bowl. Listen to this, where he talked about Cooper Kupp and the impact he's had on his career.
He's been like the brother I didn't know I had. He's been so fun. We get to joke around. I love playing pig with him. I get him to move around. I know he's been in the league for a little while, so I try to make sure I don't overexhaust all the energy he's got. But I love just we play a little word hunt game, so I feel like I try to sometimes I feel like I'm the little annoying little brother to him, but then also when we get to sit and talk routes and we're talking about leverage and how to double up somebody and how to move and how to understand where the defense goes, it's music to my ears because he has the plethora of knowledge and he's willing to give it all. So it makes learning the game of wide receiver super fun for him.
Yeah.
Jay with his typical yup, just kind of agreeing with him.
Thanks, Puka.
Thanks, Puka. But the fact of the matter is that unfortunately Cooper Kupp, the mentor, has been so good along with Puka Nacua's talent that it has hurt Cooper Kupp's fantasy production as you see it there on your screen. Now, some of this, of course, is influenced by the fact that Kupp missed a number of games at both the start of the year and then, was banged up at different times during last season. But Nacua last year finished, as a top 6 fantasy wide receiver, Kupp 23. There's injury concerns with Kupp. I think a second year of Nacua in this system, he'll be the preferred target of Matthew Stafford. Cooper Kupp's still going to be very, very good. 27% target share in all the healthy games he had last season, but also last year, under 62 yards a game, under 5 receptions a game. That's the fewest since his rookie season. They added Demarcus Robinson as well, who is another threat for Matthew Stafford. And again, you obviously prefer Kupp much more than Demarcus Robinson, but it's another viable pass catcher that can take 4 or 5 targets a game away. So, Kupp comes in at wide receiver 27 for me. Still think a very viable wide receiver, but more of there's risk there with Kupp that there wasn't before.
I think we're going to look back 10, 15 years from now at Cooper Kupp's career and just look through it and it's like, oh yeah, he's this really solid slot guy, and then he had the greatest wide receiver season of all time and won Super Bowl MVP, and then went back to being a really solid slot guy. It's very strange, but I think that I agree with you. I think it hurts as well that him and Nacua are kind of like they're similar player types. Like it's not like one is some vertical deep threat. They kind of do a lot of the same stuff. And then also with Kupp, even though I think the idea was always that he would age really gracefully because he's not super dependent on his athleticism athleticism. I think that's a misnomer across all sports where guys who aren't super explosive. And look, he's a great athlete all the same, but when you lose a little bit off of that, I think it can hurt you even more. So I'm sure he's still going to be excellent. He still did have 4 games last year of 110 plus receiving yards. He's still a great wide receiver, but clearly you'd rather have Nacua.
Because if you told me he was going to play every game, that he wasn't going to be injured, if you guaranteed me that, then he's a wide receiver too. But because there's a chance that you're going to miss a couple of games there, or he's going to come into the week, the Rams will be playing a Sunday night game, and he's got a hammy, and we just don't know if he's going to go until game time, and you're going to be like, I can't risk it with Kupp, so I'm going to just start somebody in 1 o'clock games because he's a true game time decision. Like, because of that, he's a wide receiver 3 who will have wide receiver 1 spike weeks throughout the season. So, like, wide receiver 3 with upside, you know.
That's the thing.
Yeah, you don't like using that phrase, but it is. I mean, like, he's going to be that guy.
Is that too big of an adjustment? Because going into 2 seasons ago, we were talking about Cooper Kupp as the number 1 pick in fantasy, and now, like, he's not that old. Like, I still think that there is.
But he's had major injuries over the last 2 years, and they've added somebody that is a massive threat to a team that still wants to run the ball.
I think I'm going to end up having a lot of shares of Cooper Kupp this season. Yeah.
But again, you know,
Have a contingency plan.
Yeah.
have a contingency plan because
He will win you weeks, and you will be without him for weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Similar to, I mean, you were in on Michael Thomas last year as well.
He won you 2 weeks.
You were like
another offensive player.
Another guy that was really had a great wide receiver season, older, dealt with
I
some
look
injuries.
for the best in people. I remember the good times. What are you going to blame me for?
Not like a younger player is taking over that passing offense.
Yeah. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.